What up, family? Welcome to the Living For You, the YouTube channel. It's me, your favorite cousin, your favorite uncle, your favorite brother, your favorite nephew, your favorite father, your favorite son, your best friend's best friend, Dr. Larry. And once again, welcome to the channel, Living For You, the YouTube channel. This is a safe space, a positive place, a place where we come together and we grow together. That is the sole purpose of this channel, for us to give good entertainment news, for us to give good entertainment stories, for us to grow together through life coaching, for us to discover ourselves and just kind of grow as people. This is a positive place, one of the most positive places you will find right here on YouTube and on the internet, period. For those of you who are my loyal, faithful subscribers, I see our subscriber numbers are jumping up. That means people are joining the family, and we enjoy that. Thank you so much. You are family. I love you guys. I generally say that from a deep place. I love you guys. Thank you for riding and kicking it with me for, and rocking with me for all this time. And those of you who knew, decided to subscribe, thank you. You're family. We love you. Welcome. You're always welcome here. No matter who you are, man, woman, child, trans man, trans woman, gay, straight, bi, tri, poly, whatever you are and whomever you are, welcome, because this is a safe space for you. Those of you who are just out there watching, you're watching the videos, but you have yet to hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and join the family. There's a bunch to gain and there is nothing to lose. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, join the family. Also, while you're at it, hit the notification bell so that you know when I drop things. This week I'm a little late, my schedule's a little tight, but obviously I'm here because I don't want to miss a week of my family, us sitting together, having us a wonderful meeting and enjoying each other's company and time. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Larry, as I said before. If you want to know more about me, you can go out onto my business website at www.liveforyoucoaching.com. I'm a certified life and spiritual coach, and the spiritual coach is very important to me. You can go out there on www.liveforyoucoaching.com and you can learn more about me, learn more about the business, see some of the resources we have for you. And if you want to just follow me on a day-to-day basis on social media, you can follow me at Dr. Larry Smith on Instagram and on Facebook. I post daily, well, for the most part, daily. Probably 2 or 3 times a day I'm out there posting something that has to do with coaching, that has to do with life, that has to do with the news. That's my personal feelings, my life, pictures, things. It's me out there. It's my personal Facebook, Dr. Larry Smith on Instagram and on Facebook. So welcome. Actually, you guys already know that for this season 8, this final season of Iyanla Fix My Life, I have been covering the episodes and I have been giving my perspective from a life coach's perspective, and today is no different. That is what I'm going to do. I actually had to take notes. You guys know I take notes. I watch it once just for entertainment and just for the good feeling of it that you all watch it for. But then I also watch it to take notes so that I can come here and give you guys a bang-up video talking about these episodes. And this was another wonderful episode. And actually, I felt kind of odd about doing this one because this one was really targeted towards women. She had 4 powerful radio media personalities in the Atlanta area on her show. And they were dealing with different things. And it turned out that they all were the same person, dealing with the same issues. They just dealt with different manifestations of being the exact same person. And I thought it was interesting she was dealing with women. But what I learned, and as I watched, I said, this stuff, while it is specific and targeted to the women demographic, men can catch and feel some of this stuff too, and we can also use it. So I wanted to come on here specifically and kind of gear it to a more broader audience, to not just women, but to also focus on the men, and those of us who have a male gender, and some of those of us who are living our lives in similar fashions and having similar experiences. The totality of this episode was about relationships. Many of these women were very successful in their careers. Well, actually, all of these women were successful in their careers. They were in radio, they were media personalities, they were doing very well for who they were in their careers, but for some way, that success then transferred over into their personal lives. They were getting bad relationships, bringing in the same types of not good relationships, having difficult situations in their personal life, which was not mirroring the professionalism and the top-notch excellence and success that they were having in their business life. So So she had the different women, and as soon as they walked in, she had all of them choose the woman that they represent or that they feel they are. Whether it was the power broker, whether it was the go-getter, the fire starter, different personalities. The boss lady, the roles. And so she had them pull different roles, and then she asked them why were they here, and they all have various different reasons. But pretty much when you listen to all of them, you come to the conclusion that they're there because they can't sustain or keep or maintain or receive a relationship in their lives. As we go further into the episode, we start to understand some of the mechanics about why and who are they showing up as in relationships and why these relationships tend to fail. Because because she made a good statement in the episode, Miss Iyanla, and I thought it was fantastic. The most important relationship that you can have in totality out of all the relationships that you may have in your life is the relationship that you have with yourself. And a lot of times we forget that as people. A lot of times we forget the idea that we have to take care of self. We have to make sure self is centered. We have to make sure self is whole. And that's spiritual, that's mental, that's physical, emotional. We have to make sure all that's together for self before we even attract the kind of energy that's going to match that. Because if all that's together, you're going to repel the energy that's not like that. And if you attract energy that is not like that, your strength in who you are will be strong enough to either get it out of your life or to help the person that may have needed you. Because sometimes we're healers. Sometimes we're not in a relationship to meet our match. We're in our relationship to help somebody. And that might not be forever. And it might be forever. But, relationships manifest themselves for different reasons for each of us in our lives for different reasons. So she talked to the different women. And she wanted to initially talk to Miss Shanika because Miss Shanika was holding back. And Miss Shanika is actually the one who brought all of them together. She's the friend who brought all her friends together because she thought she was bringing them for support. But what she soon realized, and what Miss Iyanla realized at some point, is they're the same person. And a lot of times in our friends groups, if you look around at the 4 friends that you have around you on 4 corners of your life, generally there's some manifestation of you, or there's some reflection of who you are, or part of who they are is part of who you are, because that is just the way the universal energy works. We generally gravitate, appreciate, understand, get along with people who are very similar to us, our tribe, our cohort, our group, right? And so if you have a troubled group, or your tribe is in danger in several perspectives, then you have to go back and look and say, what am I? Who am I? And how do I fit into this tribe? And if you're not fitting into this tribe, ask yourself the question, why am I in this tribe? Right? So she talks to Miss Shanika, and we find out that Miss Shanika, she thought she was here for one thing, but she realized that she was really a woman who was mothering. She was giving. She thought she was the power broker, the boss lady, who was able to pull in, and make moves, but really she was just a woman who was being used and taken care of, which made no sense that you're a power broker, but you're being taken advantage of. And so she turned out to be mothering, dismissing bad behavior, looking beyond it, somehow condoning bad behavior, and she kept pulling that into a relationship. Men who weren't there to treat her right, and so forth, and she was just kind of allowing this to happen. And Miss Iyanla noticed from the very beginning that she gave a very rehearsed answer as to why she was there. It was staged. She had been telling her the self reality over and over and over again in her mind, that it was just easy to just say, this is why I'm here, this is who I am, this is what I do. But it was staged. And a lot of times the things that we tell about ourselves, when we ask the question of ourselves, who are we? What do we want? Where are we in life? Where do we want to go? We have these staged answers based on the perception of what we believe people want us to be. We have these staged answers based on the perception of what we believe we are in the wrong context, and so much and so forth. And we actually ignore the inner person, child reality of who we are, and we just allow ourselves to just be that image. And that's what she was doing. So Miss Iyanla asked her, how have you felt yourself in trying to please others? How have you felt yourself in that? And so the next woman is Miss Tracy. Tracy Steele, you may have seen her on Love and Hip Hop, and she is quite the firecracker. And for her, she felt as though she was a strong woman. She was an independent, fierce woman, but she admitted that she had never felt love. She admitted that she had never, even though she said she was a boss lady and she said she was that person, she admits that she had never experienced healthy relationships. In fact, what we learned from all of the women is that actually they all had never experienced or seen a healthy relationship. Some of them had seen relationships, but the relationships weren't built around anything solid. And even Miss Shanika, who was kind of reserved at first, what we find out that reservation comes from her seeing her parents come together and they were working together to accomplish so much. And once they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, that tore their relationship apart somehow. And so she has this notion of connecting success with failure in personal life that she probably didn't even notice until Miss Iyanla pointed that out to her. But it more than likely affects her relationship with her being successful. She gave up and felt as though maybe it's just not meant to be successful and have a healthy relationship. And it is totally possible to have a healthy relationship and to be successful in your career or in your business. That is totally possible, but it requires the work. It requires the self-introspection. It requires you to be able to look within yourself and get to know who you are and how you're showing up in a relationship. And so we find out, like I said, she thought she was the power broker, but she realized that she wasn't as powerful and as brokering as much power as she thought she was. When we talked to Tracy felt as though she was very defensive, in her relationships, or at least Miss Iyanla pointed out she was defensive. She named her wig Marcia, and Marcia was defensive and ready to pop off and protecting innocent Tracy, but we found out that she's very defensive. And she learned this from her mom, because her mom had a situation in which her father was there, but then he just disappeared, and he didn't explain why he disappeared. He just never came back around. And Iyanla said that is violence. That is emotional violence, where you can do something and you can know something's affecting somebody and you don't speak out to bring clarity to what it was that's affecting this person. That is an emotional violence. How much of us have been in that situation in which we know somebody that we've affected in a certain way has gone through something? We know it impacts them in a way, but instead of giving them clarity or freedom from that, from our perspective, we allow them to sit in it. Because we don't know how to handle it. We don't know how to manage it. We don't know how to address it or confront it. There's a lot of people who live a life of avoidance. One of the most violent, disrespectful things you can do to yourself or somebody else is avoid reality. Avoid the truth. Avoid confrontation. Sometimes confrontation comes uncomfortable. Many times, most times, confrontation comes uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it is better to confront the uncomfortable than to try to ignore it and not deal with it and be avoidance of everything. So we find out from all that, that's how Tracy communicated. She found out that her boyfriend had cheated on her, and she wanted to act out in a violent way, but she just tried to avoid it. She just left. She just took his stuff out, threw his stuff out, and all that. And we find out that she feels, even herself, admittingly, she's violent. When she gets mad, she pops off. She gave an example of somebody almost hitting her kid on the street, and she said, I went and I was banging out her window, kicking her door, all in front of her 10-year-old child, mind you, freaking out, spazzing out, having an angry issue. So she's reacting in a violent way, in an angry way in front of her kid, teaching him that this is okay behavior. But more than likely, it comes from, and Miss Iyanla pointed that out, that wounded, defensive little girl, the diva. The one who wants what she wants, but doesn't have what it takes to get what she wants, and doesn't have what it takes to request what she wants. And so, and she said, and Miss Iyanla pointed out that you're a loose cannon. And that's what makes people think a certain thing about you. They think the B word and some not so nice things about you, DJ Tracy Steele, because you act in a way that you might just get triggered easily, and that frightens people. It makes people wonder, like, what in the hell is going on here? And we find out as we dig deeper that she is really just protecting herself. She's really just trying to be defensive and combative and strong in appearance, but she's really just trying to protect the little wounded girl on the inside of her. How many people, now mind you, this is something, like I said, this episode was really geared towards different types of women, but at the end of the day, there are men out there who act tough, don't show emotions, don't cry, don't do none of those things, because in their minds, they feel like they have to defend themselves. They'll never say that, because that takes vulnerability. That takes you being able to say, I'm hurt, I don't want to be hurt. I'm weak on the inside, so I'm protecting myself from being hurt. It takes a lot of vulnerability to say that. And even men, especially black men, we have a hard time expressing that vulnerability. And so we act defensively. We act tough. It happens. People, we do that. You shouldn't do that. Be vulnerable. There's strength in allowing yourself to feel. There's strength in allowing yourself to be. So what we ultimately find out from all these women, I don't have to go through all the stories. You guys watch the episode. We find out that all these women were just women who were wounded women and scared little girls who never fully dealt with the things that scared them, who never fully dealt with the things that wounded them. They just act tough. And Iyanla she said a good thing. She said, we are expected to be this way. Society doesn't want us to cry. Society doesn't want us to be weak. They don't want to hear our weaknesses. They don't want to deal with that. We are expected to be men in dresses, i.e. act tougher than we want when we need to feel. Women are feelers, and that is a reality. Women are supposed to be the feelers, the natural organic feelers. But society doesn't always allow women, especially black women, to be natural organic feelers. And a lot of times it's not just because of some arbitrary societal thing. It's because they have to take care of the kids. Sometimes the father's not in the house. Sometimes they have to be strong and display strength towards raising sons and in these tough relationships, tough environments that beat them down. So yes, salute and shout out to all the black women, my mama, my family, my sisters, my aunties, and all my grandmother, and all these black women who had to figure out how to be strong. And sometimes that came across as hard, difficult to deal with, sometimes repelling. And you can't attract if that's your energy. If your energy is repellent, then you're not going to attract much that's going to want to deal with that. Because in order to deal with that tough energy, the guy has to be even more tougher. And that tougher sometimes cross into toxic masculinity sometimes, and even sometimes into macho-isms that are really not necessary in a loving, compassionate, considerate relationship. So I thought this episode was pretty good because like I said, even though it was geared towards women, there are things within all of us, right? We have to project an air of toughness. We have to project an air of competence, an air of strength, an air of non-vulnerability, because we do it a lot of times from a defensive place and from an unhealed place. And my challenge is that you dive into the stuff that you need to heal and confront it, and you address it. And if you need to feel, whether it's cry, whether it's emote, or whatever you got going on, just do it. I'd rather cry because I can't deal with an emotion than cry because I've done something out of aggression that I might have to regret. Or I've pushed the relationship away because I was not able to be vulnerable and just let my guard down and just experience and love and feel and emote. That's what this episode was about. Really removing the pretenses and the masks that we wear, that we project for people so that they develop an image of us and we just be real. And a lot of you guys who've been following me, you know I come on this and my mask is boom. It's gone. I don't wear a mask. I just be me. This is me talking. I'm country like this. My country clothes, my country accent, my hair. I got balding spots here that I'm trying to fix in life. You know, my crooked smile, all that stuff is me. And I am authentically me because I feel like the safest place for me to be is being myself. The safest place to be is myself. And so at the end of the day, I take the mask off. You either like me or you don't. I want you guys to like me because I want you guys to subscribe. I want you guys to engage. But at the end of the day, I'm okay just showing up as I am because it's freeing. And I promise you, once we take the mask off, we stop being defensive. We stop living in these pretenses. We stop trying to be what society wants us to be or who we think we are or who we want to be. Then you live a free life. And don't you want to be free? Don't you want to have freedom to just be with nothing behind it? Try it. Your homework is to take your mask off. Your homework today is to go into yourself and find those spots that you refuse to touch and deal with them. And if it requires emotions, have them. I promise you, on the other side, you will experience freedom. And there is no life like the free life. That's it. That's it. As I always say, I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. And I look forward to coming here all the time, just chilling and chatting and kicking it and, parlaying it with you. So as I always say, I love you all. I love you, love you, love you with the love of Christ. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.